Hello, welcome back to the Single Malt Review for December 3, 2019, as we continue our sojourn through this frankly excellent Secret Spirits Whiskey Advent Calendar.
Yeah, we're off to a pretty strong start here. We haven't burnt down with any 0-point tastings just yet. If you want to hear the rules of the game that we're playing, then refer to episode number 1 of this series where I lay it all out. But without further ado, Dave's going to don the hat today.
See.
And engage in the engage in some tasting detective work. See if we can uncover the mysteries of the dram. So while Dave stews in there, it's a real hot environment in there. I can tell
It
you
is,
that.
yeah.
It's hard work. I will go and break into number 3 here, which, as we've discovered, is a bit of a two-hand job. They are certainly robustly packaged. So thank you again to Secret Spirits for taking us along the adventure this year, for kindly providing the treasure trove of drams we've got here. Almost ruined number 24. Oh, the holes are only just big enough. Oh, alright. Good grief. Now, what have we got? What have we got? What have we got? Interesting.
If you're just joining us,
Very
I'm blindfolded
interesting.
so I can try to guess what this is, where it's from, and who it's by. If I can pin down any of those, plus any other ideas of what I'm tasting, then, well, I guess I win at Christmas.
And then after the 2-minute power taste, all shall be revealed. And until then, this whiskey is for me to know and Dave
Thank you.
to find out. So
Okay,
let's
we're
try and
not
do it
going
in
back
the
on?
right order this time.
Oh, yeah.
I was
What, where, and who?
there we go. Now please commence the power taste.
Ooh, that is
Now that's a
peculiar
an
nose.
aroma. Yeah, what is that?
I worried I was going to end up saying this a lot, but I think it is true. It is very familiar, but I can't pin it down just yet. I'm getting big hints of beeswax. No discernible peat.
Yeah, no, agree on the peat. I don't get any peat either.
Yeah.
It's a pretty deep dark nose.
It's not especially hot. I'm not getting a lot of strong alcohol off there, so while it's likely cask strength, it's not a crazy high percentage. I'm going to go in and go for a bit of a taste. Ooh, there are some intense florals there. There's a strong sweetness. It is also, there's butter, beeswax, honey. It's only, my mind is skipping ahead, jumping ahead several steps and honing in on one particular distillery.
Oh, you've got to fight that instinct.
Yeah.
It'll do you wrong in the end. That's the 1 minute mark.
I'm thinking well into the Highlands. My mind is screaming that this is a single malt whiskey. There may be some other blends or possibly some, for all we know, some single grain in here, but I think single malt. And I think this is Kleinlich. I'm going to guess maybe what would it be?
Kleinlich, huh? That's an interesting choice because Kleinlich is one of the that's maybe not the gimmiest of gimmies, but Kleinlich is one of the ones that I've got in my pocket of potential guessables.
There's that beeswax and honey is what's making me go that way, and I'm guessing based on the strength, about 15 years old. It's not super young, not super old either. It's been mellowed by time to make it drinkable as it is.
Oops. Final guesses. Let the time get away.
Okay. Lock it in as Kleinlich.
Kleinlich. All right, and that's all our other questions answered as well.
Yeah.
Let's see what we've got. This one, it's a hard one when I can read it and I still don't know what's going on.
Oh.
This is the Tullamore Classic Blended Malt Scotch Whisky.
Wow.
So, and at 43% as well.
So I could not be more wrong.
And no years given. So, I've never even heard of Tullamore. That's kind of a funny name, actually, but it's a blended malt. So,
shall we take a quick jump cut and consult the internet?
let's do a wee pause here.
Yeah, we'll be right back once we know anything about this.
Right, so we've had a little bit of real investigative work because, goodness, we've never even heard of Toemore, but we have been able to find out a few smidgens of information here.
It is from after all, the Lost Distillery Company.
Yeah, Lost Distillery Company. Not one, sadly, that we get allocations for down here in New Zealand, which is not unusual. We are almost diametrically opposite in terms of where they are in the world, but it is, and I quote from the website, it's a blended malt, so Dave was right in that it was malt whiskey, so that's 1 point there.
That's about what I was right about.
Well, this is an impossible job right here. This is, like I say, you've got a hard one when I can read the bottle and still couldn't tell you what it was. But, so yes, it is all malt whiskey, so tick that box. And it is a blended to replicate the style of the original Toemore distillery, which is not one that I'm particularly familiar with.
Yeah.
And it's blended in a sherry style, so that certainly makes sense. You can see, and we have to take on faith that this hasn't been coloured, but
lovely
the colour is definitely screams sherry if that's the case. 43%, so that one didn't really need water, but it is apparently unchill filtered, which is always good to hear. So that's Toemore. That's something we have never ever encountered before. As to the age, it's a no age statement, but this tastes like old whiskey to me, I think.
Now, I assumed fairly old on account of a relatively low alcohol content. That is, of course, because it's blended and bottled at this strength.
Obviously, there's some younger whiskey in here because they've gone the no age statement route, and you wouldn't do that if you had all old whiskey. But I'd say that the predominant age of the whiskey here is got to be 18 years or older. It's very, very mature. Yeah, it's.
If it isn't a fair whack of Clynelish in there, I'd be surprised. But then, my mind instantly went to Clynelish. Just so much of honey and beeswax,
what the old Glentowie used to profile like, I suppose. Yeah, a real weird
and
one.
What's even gone into this blend?
This is a real whiskey X-file. We'll have to do a bit of legwork on the back end of this one. I think that's it's difficult to say what's going on here, but I think a definitely old whiskey and. In terms of would I drink this again, hell yes, this is an amazingly flavourful, sherry-driven kind of a dram. In fact, it could be my favourite of the ones yet, actually. I think there's flavours in here, there's flavours you only get from really properly old, sherry-matured malt whiskey, and they are so rare to see these days. And I'm getting them in here, these sort of really boiled sweets, boiled candies. Sort of stewed, macerated fruits, dark fruits. They're all a dying breed of flavour as the amount of genuine European oak sherry casks, not the manufactured American oak ones with they've had a bit of a rinse through with sherry. The real genuine ones, they are leaving the world one by one, as no one wants any sherry anymore. So go these flavours that they produce, and it's been a while, and I think it will be a while again before I encounter a lot of these dark European oak flavours again.
It's fair to say I'm doing very poorly on the guessing game so far. I'm not gleaning much, but
I've
never been more glad to be wrong because of the sheer amount of surprise, the new ideas and new flavours are experiencing.
You've gotten the tough ones. You got the Auchentoshan 17.
Yep.
First fill sherry, and that's the first time I've ever encountered that, that's for sure. And I got a reasonably straight-laced Tomental, very guessable Speyside there, if nothing else. And now you've gotten this Frankensteinian horror. They've definitely... This happened to you last time as well.
Yeah, my mind picked out key words, essentially. I honed in on key elements of what I was tasting, then built a profile based on that, and just locked in on that, not leaving any latitude.
And that is a trap. Do not do that because the power, the psychosomatic power of suggestion, the moment you think you've got an answer... all your senses will slowly magnetise in that direction, and it will get you every single time. You have to
see where I went wrong. Like I assumed Clynelish because of the key flavour elements. I assumed old because of the comparatively low strength, for lack of an alcohol burn. When it is, of course, a blended malt, and it's malted at 43% deliberately, not just due to passage of time. So, definitely well off the
definitely a curly one. All right then. Well, it'll be my turn next time, so we'll get straight into it. We'll see you in 24 hours' time.
Dave
Slanger.